Let not them that wait on thee, O Lord God of hosts, be ashamed for my sake. Let not those that seek thee be confounded for my sake, O God of Israel. Psalm 69, verse 6. David turns from his own condition to the condition of others. This is the movement of a man who carries more than his own name into his crisis. He understands that his life is public. His standing before God is visible to the congregation of Israel. If David falls, if God does not answer, if the enemies win, the damage does not stop with David. It spreads outward to every person who has staked their confidence in the same God David serves. The people David prays for are those who wait on God and those who seek Him. These are not passive observers. Waiting on God is an active posture of expectation, holding the soul in readiness for what God will do. Seeking God describes deliberate pursuit, turning toward Him, rather than toward human alternatives. These people have done what God requires. Their faith is genuine. David's concern is that his situation does not become a stumbling block for them. If God's anointed man is destroyed by his enemies, the watching congregation draws conclusions. They ask whether God is faithful. They inquire whether seeking Him produces anything. David's prayer deals not with his own reputation, but with God's character among those whose faith is under pressure from the same enemies that pursue David. The double address, O Lord God of hosts and O God of Israel, frames the petition between two names that carry the full weight of God's covenant power and covenant relationship. The God of armies and the God of Israel's covenant is the same God David asks to protect the faith of the people through his deliverance. Because for thy sake I have borne reproach, shame hath covered my face. Psalm 69, verse 7. David now identifies the source of his suffering. He does not suffer because he has done wrong. He suffers because he belongs to God. The reproach he carries is not the consequence of his own sins. It is the consequence of his association with God in a world that hates God. His enemies do not hate David. They hate what David represents. In the ancient world, shame was not just an internal emotion. Shame was a social reality. David's enemies have attached disgrace to his name in public spaces. His face carries the mark of their accusations. Yet David names this shame as something he bears for God's sake, which transforms its meaning. The shame does not show divine abandonment. Peter connects this pattern to Christ in 1 Peter 4 verse 14, where bearing reproach for Christ's name becomes evidence of the Spirit of glory resting on the believer. The shame David carries for God's sake is not the shame of a man God has rejected. It is the shame of a man God has claimed. I am become a stranger unto my brethren, and an alien unto my mother's children. Psalm 69, verse 8. The rejection has moved inside David's own family. His brethren, those who share his blood and his history, now treat him as a foreigner. His mother's children, his closest natural relations, view him as an alien with no claim on their loyalty or protection. This is a specific pain. Enemies outside the family are one thing. Family members who withdraw, who calculate the cost of association and choose distance, produce a wound that political enemies cannot reach. David names this without softening it.